Hey everybody, on today's video I want to show you the new Keeley Aria pedal. And what's pretty interesting and unique about this pedal is it has a compressor side and an overdrive side, and you can even change the order of the effects if you want to go from the compressor into the overdrive or the overdrive to hit the compressor. Sounds pretty interesting, so let's hear how it sounds like. Alright guys, the riff that you just heard was this Stratocaster in the next single coil position through the Victory amp, where I have a sort of a clean channel going on, very lightly positioned the gain into the Sur Reactive Low box and then into the RME Babyface Pro. I want to rewind a little bit and start from how it's got chips. It comes in a box. In this box, first thing I saw is a warning. You have to register, otherwise you don't have the warranty for the pedal. And you have a pick. That's pretty cool. So what we've got here is level, tone, sustain, and blend. I'm gonna start with the sustain first. There are basically two things that govern how much a compressor is doing, and those are the threshold and ratio. And these are all combined in one knob here, the sustain knob. What it does, it brings the initial attack when we hit the strings down by a certain amount of dB, and then it brings the same amount of volume back in as it was before. So one thing to be aware of, it also brings up the signal to noise ratio. So we might experience much more noise, especially if you play single coil pickups. And that's why I wouldn't overdo the sustain knob too much. That would be around 11 o'clock. And it's gonna be a kind of a more natural compression as well. Let me play a little riff for you. Immediately we can hear the effect of the compression. What we start to notice is that the rhythms pop out more and that each attack of the strings is dipping down in volume. So it's rounding things out and bringing things, certain parts dynamically down in order to get the soft parts up. We're gonna go back to the close-up of the pedal, and because we still have some knobs to talk about. Next to it, we've got the blend knob. It's essentially pulling in the effect of the compression. And you can go halfway blend, so you have half the compression and half of the clean signal. And up until full, just turn it to the left, and just the clean signal, so no compression is applied onto the right. We've got a little tone knob here as well. It's adding a bit of high frequencies if the compression is mudding up some of the top end of the guitar, which may probably happen. It's a very handy tool to have. And then we have the level knob, so this acts as the volume. Now, clean amplifiers are not usually compressed because compression comes in when we use gain stages. And we can try and plug it into a Fender Reverb amp, and as soon as we attack the strings in the moment of impact, we're gonna hear it's extremely loud because of the fact that there's literally no compression going on, and the headroom is just maximized. And that's where this pedal can really shine, especially on the more articulate fingerpicking stuff. Now, especially acoustics need some more compression. I'm going to use this beautiful TAC of mine here. It's got an EMG pickup, and I'm going to go directly into the RME Babyface Pro. And because the strings are quite old and muddy sounding, I'm going to boost a little bit of the top end with the tone knob and see what kind of sounds we get. As soon as I turn on the compressor, it starts to bring up the low-end transients. This means the hiss level is getting louder, and that's something we have to be in mind. So we will experience some noise essentially if we overdo it too much. And another thing is we have 9 volts of power available, and this is minimizing the headroom for the gain stage quite a lot, because let's say a comparison to 1176 rack mode compressor, they have 230 volts of power available here in Europe, and that's a big difference for the gain stage. So I think it's best to keep the volume at around 1 o'clock and do the rest like the balancing out with the blend and the sustain knobs. So guys, now we're going to the meat and potatoes of this video. I'm going to show you how it sounds like to put a compressor in front of an overdrive. Now we're going to the high gain mode, first without and then with to hear the difference. And if we go now to the crunch channel and we drive a driven signal and put a compressor on top, it's even gonna get more gain, and basically it's gonna crush the overdrive. It's gonna pull the dynamics closer together. We're gonna have more sustain and it's gonna be easier to play. And we're essentially getting to the fuzzy territory. So for some applications, it's really good to have this kind of tones. So guys, I really hope I cleared some information about how the compressor and the overdrive work, and most essentially how they interact with each other through the FX switch. I really liked the Aria a lot, playing it with the Strat and especially with the single coil pickup more than the humbucker, because single coils are naturally not as compressed as humbuckers, and yeah, they have less output, but you still have this bite and attack in the top end, and I kind of really liked it with the compressor and the overdrive, and especially on the fast tones as well. So it's a great pedal. I think it's mostly aimed if you have a single channel amp, a clean amp, and you can put in another channel with the overdrive section. You have two types of overdrive, low gain mode and a high gain mode. And on top of that, you have a great compressor section for the clean stuff, especially if you play some funky stuff. It's gonna even out the dynamics and bring up the soft nuances in the playing. And yeah, finger picking, articulate finger picking stuff. It's great for the delicate, soft nuances. And yeah, I really liked it. And especially if you're into fuzzy tones, it's got some great fuzz tones here. Yeah, essentially, you have 2 effects, 2 gain stages, and then you've got a compressor and fuzz options. So basically 4 effects in one pedal. If you've got any types of comments, please write them down in the comment section below. I love reading them, and yeah, see you all in the next one. Cheers!